Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. I got my copy of Twister 4K early, so I thought I'd give you a review. Well, so you don't have to wait. If you love this movie, pick up the 4K. For some reason, Warner Brothers did not put a Blu-ray in there, so Blu-ray fans are kind of left out of the thing here. But it has been remastered in 4K from the original film. It's got a new Dolby Atmos soundtrack that totally rocks. Movie looks great, sounds great on 4K. Go ahead and pick it up. It comes out Tuesday, July the 9th. I pre-ordered from Grove.com, and mine shipped on Monday and got here early, so that was wonderful. Now, this is a movie that had an almost $90 million budget, went on to make almost $500 million. It was a huge box office success. Everybody watched this for years. It was big on cable for a long time. The DVDs and the Blu-ray sold quite well. And there hasn't been a Blu-ray, updated edition in over a decade. It's been quite some time. Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, Jamie Gertz, and Carrie Elways, along with a very young Philip Seymour Hoffman and a few other character actors, do a fantastic job in this film. Jan de Bont was following up his film Speed, and boy, did he. Now, when I pre-ordered the 4K, I did it from Grove because, well, I live in Alaska, so there's no tax. They don't charge me tax, they don't charge me shipping, and their pre-order was cheaper than Amazon or Walmart or anybody else. But I had almost second thoughts. Last year, Twister came out from a German company called Turbine, and it had a new Aural 3D and Dolby Atmos soundtrack, and a lot of people were raving about it, and I almost picked it up just for that because I thought the movie, didn't really need a 4K upgrade. It was an older movie. It's almost 30 years old, right? So anyway, I got this 4K in, and with a couple of others, actually, the reviews are coming. Really, really good one that's a surprise. But anyway, but do movies like this age very well? Do the special effects age? I mean, it did pick up an Academy Award nomination for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound. Like I said earlier, go ahead and pick it up for the sound. The Dolby Atmos soundtrack is amazing. It's not perfect. Like the first time they used Van Halen's Human Being, I thought that could have been a little bit better. But overall, from the opening credits all the way to the end, this is going to work out your Dolby Atmos in your subwoofer. It really is a great updated soundtrack that brings the movie into the 21st century. The movie looks great. This is a great story. Obviously, Steven Spielberg was an executive producer. Kathleen Kennedy was an executive producer. Amblin Entertainment was behind it. Michael Crichton wrote it and produced it. Yes, the author, Michael Crichton, and his wife wrote the screenplay. So at under 2 hours, the movie cooks. I haven't watched it in at least a decade or more, and really didn't know how it was going to fare in my modern movie watching, movie reviewing kind of acumen that's going on these days in 2024. Well, I was thrilled with it from beginning to end. It starts fast and continues. There's a few stops for, some dramatic moments and character beats, but they're short and they keep the flow moving. It breaks up these giant set pieces that go on for 20 and 30 minutes. The set pieces are pretty much the entire movie. This is the blueprint of the blockbuster that some movie studios have forgotten how to do it. This was done right. It kind of laid out, this is how you make a great blockbuster that everybody's going to like, from little kids to grandma. With the soundtrack updated in the 21st century, it always was a character in the movie. I mean, these beasts, these tornadoes, have particular sounds. They put animal growls in them, mixed it all together to give them kind of an aggressive animalistic sound, not just wind. The wind, the effects, everything. The effects really hold up. There was only a couple places where you went, oh, well, that's a little CG-ish, but for the most part, they've done a great job with it. It really holds up. The storms look like real storms. They were based on real storms. The whole reason this movie got made is Jan de Bont had an idea. He had seen some tornado footage and said, we need to recreate that. So he worked with ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, and they created a demo reel. And as soon as people saw the demo reel, which was basically the scene where the tornado comes and the tractor flies apart and the wheel flies at the camera, they green-lighted the movie instantly without having a script or anything else. They were just like, yeah, we got to make this movie. So we're finally getting a sequel on the 19th of this month. I don't know why it's taken almost 30 years for a sequel, 28 years for a sequel, but hopefully it's good. I don't care one way or the other. A lot of people these days grumble about sequels and reboots and all that kind of stuff, but as long as it's, it can't change the original film. And now that we have this pretty much perfect, I'd give the video about 4 out of 5. It looks like a movie, a theatrical presentation. It looks great. There is some great detail and close-ups and things like that. But, forgot to mention, Jan Dubon is very excited about this 4K edition because the one scene where they say it's turning green, if you've ever been near a hurricane or a bad weather system, the sky turns green. It literally turns this. It would be hard. I don't think we've ever seen it in a movie until now. It's kind of why the artwork on the Steelbook and the regular edition of the 4Ks has that green tinge to it, because they were never able to accurately represent that green, this malevolent-looking green that happens in the sky. If you've ever been near a hurricane, a tornado, or whatever, this happens. The sky changes for whatever reason, and it's amazing. And it's a real thing that happens. I've seen it multiple times in my life, unfortunately. So, like I said, about the actors, it's one of Helen Hunt's greatest roles. Bill Paxton does an amazing job. It's pretty much his movie. Jamie Gertz plays against type, does a great job. Carrie Elways plays against type, does a great job. Bit of a caricature, twirling the mustache kind of guy, but that's okay, and he gets his comeuppance by the end. No big spoilers here, but you should have seen this in the last 28 years. The set pieces, the character actors, the little beats. I felt there were a couple times where they tried to shove the soundtrack in your face a little too hard. Yes, you have Philip Seymour Hoffman's character who is always blasting music to accompany this, and there's one character who plays classical music, which is funny. And a lot of times it works, but there were a couple times it was like, ooh, that one didn't work so well. But overall, they do let the Van Halen songs quite take their place in the movie very well, including Respect the Wind, which is an instrumental that Van Halen did. Very rare for them to do an instrumental, and it's over the entire end credits. Also nice that the end credits all have storm systems and sunsets and stuff like that. I never remembered that. Maybe I didn't sit through the credits, but I left it on because this looks great. There were a few scenes of the 4K that really popped. There's a great sunrise scene where the trucks are coming home and the sun's coming up, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, a lot of the effects fare well. I didn't know how they would do in 4K. This upgraded resolution sometimes calls out any kind of green screen or any kind of superimposed kind of thing. But this was the beginning of our seriously good special effects in 1996. And there was a reason why this was nominated for Best Visual Effects. It still looks amazing. I was thrilled with it. I'd actually pull it out again. The character beats hit me just right. The relationship stuff is all fine. The set pieces were amazing. I really had no flaws and enjoyed the film. I'd give the video on the 4K about a 4.5 out of 5. I'd give the soundtrack about a 5 out of 5. 4.8. It's pretty close. It sounds and looks amazing. I'm glad the movie got an update before the sequel comes out. Hopefully the sequel is good and we can get a second Steelbook and I can put them side by side like the Top Gun ones. But Top Gun was one of those that the sequel, after all those years, did justice to the franchise, and hopefully Twisters will do justice to Twister. But if you're on the fence about picking up the 4K, know that they did a good job with it. It won't blow your mind visually, but soundtrack-wise, if you have a Dolby Atmos setup, you're really going to enjoy this sound mix. It's one of the better updates I've listened to lately. It's available on Tuesday, July the 9th. I got my copy early. Thank you, Gruv.com. I paid for it. Nobody sent me a free one, but it was nice to get something early and review it for you before it comes out so you can decide. I think it's a great addition to this. Unfortunately, we didn't get a Blu-ray. The extras are really good. There is a brand new 15-minute conversation with Jan Dubon, the director. He goes back into some pretty interesting things like the green color of the sky that they finally got right in the 4K. Then there is a 30-minute making of, kind of revisiting. I think it was made for probably the Blu-ray. Then there is an HBO behind the scenes, and they're in the Van Halen music video, which is kind of mixed in barely stereo. I think they could have updated the mix of that video, and it looks like it's zoomed in, and some of it doesn't look very good at all, but at least we got it, and it's there on the 4K. All the extras and everything come on the 4K. This movie didn't come with a Blu-ray. The steelbook is great, and it costs just a little bit more than the. It's a matte finish, plus that blue and black. It's kind of silhouetted designs. It's pretty cool. I used it as the thumbnail for this podcast, so thank you very much for checking that out and admiring the artwork. Anyway, Twister, it's available on 4K probably by the time you hear this podcast, so pick it up if you're a fan, and we will review Twisters coming soon here on the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. The links are below if you want to support the channel. Have a spectacular day.